My name is Quinn Reilly, a 35-year-old nurse from Boston, Massachusetts. 3 years ago, I sat at my parents' kitchen table, my stomach in knots, and heard the words that shattered everything. They slid my younger brother Sean $120,000 to launch his delivery truck business, but when I begged for a $25,000 loan to level up my nursing game and community health, they shot me down flat. Dad locked eyes with me and said, "Quinn, you're just a caretaker, grinding away at grunt work. We put our money on winners." That night, I stormed out and cut them off for good. I rebuilt my life from the ashes, and 3 years later, Sean cruised by my spot, hit the brakes hard in disbelief, and dialed our folks screaming, "Dad, you need to get over here right now."
Ever felt counted out by your own blood? Drop a like and subscribe. There's more coming that might just flip the script for you. That night was a raw November chill in Boston, the kind that seeps into your bones like bad news. I pulled into my parents' driveway in their quiet Dorchester suburb, the streetlights casting long shadows on the faded, clapboard house where I'd grown up. The air smelled of fallen leaves mixed with the faint tang of the harbor a few blocks away. Inside, Mom's pot roast wafted from the kitchen, rich, hearty, with carrots and potatoes bubbling in the gravy, the scent that usually meant comfort but tonight felt like a trap. I hung my coat on the hook by the door, the one with the chipped paint from years of comings and goings, and headed to the table. The oak surface was scarred from countless meals, a testament to family history I was starting to question. Dad sat at the head, his calloused hands folded over the evening paper, his face lined from decades coaching Little League. Mom bustled in with plates, her apron tied tight, humming an old Irish tune under her breath. Sean, my kid brother at 28, lounged to my left, his Red Sox cap backward, that easy grin plastered on like he owned the room. We dug in, forks clinking against plates, the steam rising from the roast making the overhead light hazy. I nursed my glass of cheap Merlot, Dad's go-to from the corner liquor store, waiting for the right beat to drop my news. My shift at the hospital had been brutal that day. An elderly patient, Mr. Kowalski, who'd come in alone, wheezing from pneumonia, no family to hold his hand. He'd gripped my arm, eyes watery, whispering, "You're all I've got right now, nurse." It hit me hard. Folks like him needed outreach, not just ER patches. That's why I wanted that program, to hit the streets, prevent crises before they landed in my ward. Mom set her fork down, dabbing her lips with a napkin embroidered with shamrocks, her little nod to our roots. I took a breath, my voice coming out tighter than I'd planned. "I've got this opportunity. There's a community health nursing cert at the local college. Focus on outreach, home visits for shut-ins and low-income folks. It'll cost about $25,000 for tuition and gear. I'm not asking for a handout, just a loan. I'll pay it back once I'm pulling better shifts." The room went still, the only sound the tick of the wall clock. I searched their faces for any sign of encouragement. Mom's smile was that pitying one, like I was a kid spinning tall tales. "Quinn, sweetie, let's keep our feet on the ground. We don't have cash like that to spare. Sean's kicking off his delivery gig. We just cut him a check for $120,000 to get those trucks rolling. That's a real bet on the future." Sean leaned back, his chair creaking, that smirk widening like he'd just scored the winning run. The spoon hitting my plate echoed louder than it should. I forced my voice steady. It's a loan, Mom. I'll repay every dime with interest. This could change things for me, help people before they end up in the ER. Mom shook her head, like I was begging for candy before dinner. You're always reaching for the stars, Quinn. Why not stick to what you know? Those hospital shifts are steady. Sean's building something big. Roots, clients, growth. You're doing fine as is. Dad finally chimed in, his voice gravelly from barking orders on the field. Sean's got a plan that's scalable, something with legs. Trucks mean jobs, expansion. But you, chasing this feel-good stuff? It's grunt work, Quinn, wiping noses and holding hands. We can't throw good money after that. Too risky. His words landed like a gut punch, but I pushed back, my face heating. Grunt work? Dad, I saved a guy's life today. Mr. Kowalski came in alone. No one to call. That's not nothing. This program would let me prevent that isolation. Get ahead of it. Dad leaned forward, eyes narrowing over his glasses. And Sean's out there hustling, building equity. Compare that to your shifts. Always the same. No upside. Why should we back a dead end when he's the one with real potential? Face it, Quinn, you're the steady one, but Sean's the star. We invest in winners. The comparison stung, twisting the knife. I wanted to yell, remind him of the nights I'd studied while Sean partied, the commendations I had earned so low. But doubt crept in. Maybe he was right. Maybe I was just spinning wheels. Sean poured more wine, chuckling. No shade, sis. Not everyone's built for the hustle. You've got your scrubs gig. Safe bet. The air thickened, the roast's aroma now cloying, the dim bulb overhead casting shadows that made everyone's faces look harsher. I stared at my plate, the gravy congealing, feeling like an intruder in my own family's story. Memories crashed in. Me as the firstborn, their little princess for 5 years, until Sean arrived. The miracle boy, after Mom's tough pregnancy. The house flipped. New crib with baseball decals, toys piling up for him. I learned quick to step back, be the big girl. One vivid flash, the day Mom brought him home. I was 5, excited, peeking into the bassinet at his wrinkled face. I reached to touch his finger, but Mom slapped my hand away. Quinn, careful. Don't hurt him. He's special. Her snap burned my cheeks. From then on, Sean was the fragile one, the heart of the home. He grew up golden, blonde curls, dimples like Mom's, while I had Dad's freckles and serious eyes. Quinn's our thinker, Mom'd say at barbecues, but it came with an eye roll. Sean? Our little champ, the soul of the family. At 10, I won the state science fair with a mini solar panel that powered a toy car. I scanned the auditorium for them. They were at Sean's Pee-wee game. That night, showing Dad my medal, he grunted, "Cute kid, but why tinker? Girls like you should be out there cheering like your ma." Mom nodded, fussing over Sean's trophy. His plastic gleam outshone my ribbon in the TV's blue light. Dinners revolved around his schedule, goals scored, scouts impressed. My A's, a quick pat before, but Sean's got the spark. I shrank, hiding achievements to avoid bragging. Their love felt like a pie, and Sean got the biggest slice. Back at the table, the silence pressed. Mom handed Sean the envelope, his eyes gleaming. "This is huge, Ma. Gonna dominate the routes." To me, "Chin up, Quinn, your turn'll come." I forced a nod. "No, Sean. My turns, I take 'em." Driving home, the city lights streaked like tears I wouldn't shed. Springsteen's Thunder Road blasted, raw energy fueling my resolve. But alone in my Alston apartment, the walls closing in, I unlocked my phone. Family chat glowed with Sean's truck pics, Mom's hearts, Dad's proud of our boy. My fingers trembled as I typed, "No more chasing your approval. Thanks for teaching me to stand on my own, even if it cut deep." Sent, blocked, deleted the group, every photo, every half-hearted birthday text. Each tap ached like ripping out roots, but the weight lifted too. Sleepless, I paced, fear gnawing. No more holidays, no fallback. But dawn filtered through the blinds, and peace settled. Fragile, but real. On my fire escape, the city humming below, snow flurrying like confetti, I breathed deep. Silence wasn't punishment. It was space to grow. Earlier that day, at the hospital, Sarah, my ER buddy with her quick wit and no BS vibe, had pulled me aside after Mr. Kowalski's discharge. "You look beat, girl. Family drama again?" I'd spilled a bit about the lone ask. She snorted, handing me coffee. "Screw 'em. You're the one saving asses while Sean's playing truck driver. Go for that program anyway. Be the hero they can't see." Her words echoed now, a lifeline. My phone buzzed. A text from Mom. "Quinn, honey, let's talk. We didn't mean it like that." I stared, heart twisting. Was this olive branch real or just another way to pull me back in? The cursor blinked, waiting. The weeks after I cut ties felt like walking a tightrope without a net. Every step shaky, the drop endless. I'd thrown myself into my shifts at Mass General like it was the only thing keeping me upright. The ER was a whirlwind, beeps from monitors piercing the air, the sharp tang of antiseptic clinging to my scrubs, fluorescent lights buzzing overhead like angry bees. I'd pull 12-hour marathons, crashing codes, stitching wounds, holding hands through the chaos. It was my armor, blocking out the silence where family texts used to ping. But nights alone in my Alston walk-up hit hard. The apartment was a shoebox, peeling wallpaper, a lumpy futon, the hum of the fridge, my only company. I'd microwave leftovers, staring at the blank screen of my phone, Dad's words echoing, "Grunt work, Quinn. We back winners." Mom's pitying smile flashed too, her voice soft but cutting. "Why can't you be more like Sean?" Loneliness crept in like fog off the Charles, thick and cold. I'd scroll job boards or sketch outreach ideas on napkins, telling myself this void was freedom. But doubt whispered, what if they were right? What if I was just spinning my wheels? Sarah, my ER partner in crime, noticed first. She's this fireball, short bob, quick laugh, always with a snarky comeback that cuts through the BS. We'd bonded over graveyard shifts, swapping war stories while chugging coffee in the break room. One evening, as we scrubbed out after a messy trauma, she bumped my shoulder. "You look like hell, Reilly. Family still radio silent?" I'd shrugged it off before, but that night, the dam cracked. "Cut 'em loose. They picked Sean again." She whistled low. "Damn. Well, screw that noise. You're the one saving lives while he's playing delivery boy. Come volunteer with me at the Dorchester Clinic this weekend. Free checkups for seniors. Might clear your head." I mulled it over, her words a lifeline in the quiet.
The clinic was a no-frills spot in a community center, faded posters on cinder block walls, the faint smell of mothballs and instant coffee. But it felt real, away from the ER's frenzy. Then came the hammer. One gray March morning, the director called a staff huddle in the conference room. Stale donuts on the table, tension thick as the fog outside. I clutched my coffee, the steam warming my fingers, heart already sinking. "Budget cuts from the pandemic hangover," he said, voice flat. "We're downsizing." He read the list like a grocery order. And there it was, my name, sandwiched between two others. Shock hit like a cold wave. The room spun, colleagues murmuring sympathies. I walked out into the sleet, pink slip crumpled in my pocket, feeling like the ground had vanished. Failure clawed at me, Dad's voice booming in my head. Grunt work, no upside. I pictured Sean, trucks gleaming with their cash, while I was back to square one. Was I just like him said? A steady plodder, no spark. Tears mixed with rain on my cheeks as I drove home, questioning every choice. But then Sarah's text buzzed. Heard about the cuts. Clinic tomorrow. You need this. I wiped my face, muttering, "Get up, Quinn. Prove 'em wrong." Flashbacks piled on as I tossed that night. Nursing school had been my grind. Community college days, textbooks cracked open under diner fluorescents after slinging burgers till 2 a.m. Grease on my hands, exhaustion in my bones. But I'd aced every exam on loans and grit. Sean? He'd coasted on scholarships and their praise, parties while I studied. Our boys got potential, they'd say, while my straight A's got a pat and a pivot. It fueled me then, that self-reliance, but now it stung. Why'd I have to fight solo when he got the red carpet? Sarah picked me up for the clinic, her beat-up Honda rattling through Southie streets. Chin up, Buttercup. This place is low-key gold. Real people. No corporate crap. The center buzzed with elders shuffling in for blood pressure checks, the air warm with chatter and fresh-brewed joe. I dove in, taking vitals, listening to stories. One patient, Mrs. Elena Vasquez, a wiry 78-year-old with sharp eyes and a thick Puerto Rican accent, gripped my arm after her exam. My kids? They moved to Florida, left me high and dry. No calls, no visits. You're the first one who's listened in months. Her words mirrored my ache, abandoned by blood, scraping by alone. It sparked something. What if I could build outreach for folks like her, prevent the isolation before it festered? As the day wrapped, Mr. Rossi, the center's grizzled manager, silver hair tied back, paint flecks on his jeans, approached. "You're Reilly? Heard you're a pro from Sarah here. Our health nook's a mess. Dingy, outdated. Budget's tight. $500 max for a spruce-up. Think you could turn it into something welcoming?" His eyes twinkled, hopeful. Sarah nudged me. "Told ya, your wheelhouse." I nodded, heart quickening. I'm in. Let's make it breathe. The next days blurred into action. I measured the space, a cramped corner with chipped counters and yellowed walls, sketching layouts on my laptop late into nights. Sourced cheap lights from thrift stores, comfy chairs from Craigslist, info boards from Office Surplus.
No team, just me hauling boxes, the scent of fresh paint mixing with doubt. Mrs. Vasquez stopped by one afternoon, peeking in. "Looks like home now, mija. My family? They don't get it, but you do." Her hug lingered, her story fueling my drive. This was for the abandoned, like us. Finished under budget at $420, the Nook glowed. Bright LEDs chasing shadows, posters in English and Spanish, a cozy seating area. Rossi beamed. "Didn't think it could shine like this." A week later, his call came excited. "Quinn, grab the Globe. Front page local section. Nurse revamps senior health hub, breathing new life into community care." My photo, grinning amid the revamped space, stared back. Pride swelled, the first real win since the cutoff. Sarah high-fived me over beers. "See? You're building empires while they're stuck in the past." But as I scrolled my email that night, one popped up from a nonprofit in Quincy. "Impressed by your clinic work. We've got a freelance gig, community health consult. Catch. Starts next month, low pay to start, but room to grow." My pulse raced. Opportunity knocking, but the fine print loomed. Could I swing it without a safety net? Packing up my Boston life felt like shedding an old skin, itchy, necessary, but scary as hell. Sarah helped me load the U-Haul, her laugh cutting through the April drizzle. "Florida? Girl, you're trading chowder for key lime pie. Don't forget us snowbirds." I hugged her tight, the scent of her vanilla shampoo a last whiff of home. The drive south was a blur. I-95 stretching like a promise, Boston's gray skyline fading in the rear view, giving way to Carolina pines, then Georgia peaches, finally Florida's palm-fringed highways. Salt air whipped through the cracked window, mixing with the stale coffee in my travel mug. Freedom buzzed in my veins, but anxiety nipped at its heels. What if this was just running? What if I crashed and burned, proving Dad right? I settled in a cramped rental in Tallahassee first, but the Quincy nonprofit gig pulled me west to that panhandle town, cotton fields and quiet streets, a far cry from Boston's hustle. The email had been a lifeline. Freelance consult for community health setups, starting with revamping a vet's old Victorian for accessibility. Low pay, but room to grow. I showed up day one in scrubs and boots, the house a rambling beast with creaky porches and peeling paint, the air thick with sawdust and promise. That's where I met Liam Hayes. He was knee-deep in the foundation check. Tall frame bent over blueprints, dark hair tousled under a hard hat, blue eyes steady as he straightened up. "You must be Reilly, the health whiz?" His voice was warm gravel, like a campfire crackle. I nodded, shaking his calloused hand. Rough from rescues, he later told me. "And you're the fire guy making sure this doesn't go up in flames?" He chuckled, deep and genuine, no macho edge. "Something like that. Let's make this place a sanctuary." Our first interactions were all business. Me sketching ramp placements, him reinforcing beams, the hammer's rhythmic thuds syncing with our chat. But his calm respect hit different. He listened when I rambled about outreach, nodding like my ideas mattered. No dismissing glances, no comparisons. One lunch break, Under the oak tree shading the yard, sandwiches in hand, he asked, "What brought you down south? Boston accent's a dead giveaway." I hesitated, the sandwich turning dry in my mouth. "Fresh start, family stuff, long story." He didn't pry, just said, "Fresh starts are my specialty. Been there after a bad tour." As weeks rolled, talks deepened. Evenings after work, we'd grab tacos from a food truck, the spicy salsa biting as he shared firehouse tales. Close calls hauling folks from blazes, the camaraderie that kept him going. "Lost a buddy once," he said one night, voice low over the truck's rumble. "Made me rethink. Life's too short for regrets." I opened up about my rift, the dinner blow-up, Dad's grunt work jab. Tears pricked as I spilled, but Liam just listened, then squeezed my hand. "Sounds like they missed the boat on you, Quinn. You're building something real, saving lives one visit at a time." His comfort eased the knots, but doubt lingered. One night in my rental, staring at the ceiling fan's lazy spin, I wrestled. Was this rebuild or escape? The Quincy project wrapped strong, the house now ramped and safe, the vet's family beaming, but an email pinged from Mom. "Quinn, thinking of you. Let's chat. Miss my girl." Heart racing, I opened it, hope flickering. But it was an invite to Sean's birthday bash, gushing about his thriving biz. No apology, just "come celebrate our boy." Rage surged, same old song. I deleted it, resolve hardening. No more crumbs, I'd build my own table. Liam noticed my edge the next day. "Rough night?" Over coffee in the break room, stale brew from a pot that had seen better days, I confessed the email. "Feels like they're dangling a carrot, but it's poisoned." He set his mug down, eyes serious. "You're not running, Quinn. You're charging ahead. That hub idea? Let's make it real. Home health hub, at-home care for the overlooked. Your smarts, my rescue chops, what do you say?" Excitement sparked, drowning the doubt. We brainstormed late, napkins scribbled with plans, mobile kits for checkups, partnerships with local fire stations for emergencies, apps for scheduling. "Small scale first," he said, "but scalable, like your brother's trucks, but with heart." His grin made it feel possible. Summer heat baked Florida as our bond grew. Weekend hikes in state parks, sweat-soaked laughs over gator sightings. One evening, as lightning bugs flickered, he kissed me soft, like sealing a promise. But self-questions persisted. In bed, fan whirring, I'd wonder if this was real or rebound from family wounds. Liam, sensing it during a beach walk, sand warm underfoot, waves crashing, pulled me close. "You're not fleeing, Quinn. You're forging. Let him go. We've got this." The Quincy gig led to more consults, but Liam pitched a break. "Keys for the weekend? Clear your head." We loaded his pickup, driving south, palms blurring past. Key Largo's cottage was weathered charm, waves lapping, salt air crisp. Mornings, coffee on the porch, peace seeping in like tidewater. Cruising coastal roads, a sign caught us. For sale, 3 acres beachfront, $90,000. Sandy path open to a clearing, mangroves framing turquoise waves, tears welled, connection instant. "This could be our hub base," I whispered. Elena, the widow owner, met us.
warm eyes, raspy voice. Kept it for my late husband, dreamed of a quiet retreat. Moved by our vision, she dropped to $80,000. I had $65,000 scraped. Liam covered rest, equal split. Partners, he said, but her handshake came with a catch. Close in 60 days or deal's off. Got another buyer sniffing. Pressure mounted, the timeline a ticking clock. The clock was ticking on Elena's 60-day deadline, every sunrise a reminder we were racing the calendar. Liam and I dove headfirst into the build, our tent camp a makeshift HQ amid the mangroves, canvas flapping in the breeze, the ocean's steady crash our alarm clock. We'd unroll blueprints on a rickety table fashioned from an old pallet, my pencil scratching furiously as we fleshed out Sunrise Sanctuary. The cottage clocked in at 800 square feet, smart and snug, a galley kitchen with counters we'd planed from storm-tossed driftwood, an office nook for telehealth setups and patient files, a loft bedroom accessed by a sturdy ladder, and that wide wraparound porch overlooking the waves, perfect for morning consults or just breathing in the salt air. Materials were all scavenged heart, recycled tin for the roof to shrug off rains, solar panels Liam bartered from a junkyard in Marathon, reclaimed lumber from beach wrecks that smelled of brine and adventure.
Efficient, eco, and ours, Liam said, his arm around my waist as we staked the footprint, stakes thudding into sand like declarations. But the hurdles stacked up fast, a relentless loop that pushed us to the brink. Week 1, supplies hit a snag. The hardware store in Islamorada shorted our order on nails and brackets, blaming a truck delay from the mainland. I paced the clearing, phone glued to my ear, voice rising. "We need 'em yesterday. This deadline's no joke." The clerk hemmed. "Best I can do is next week, ma'am." Frustration boiled over. I kicked a shell, watching it skitter into the brush. How do we MacGyver this? Liam, ever the steady one, rummaged our truck bed. Beach comb, wire from washed-up nets, shells for weights. We'll improvise. We scavenged at low tide, twisting finds into fixes, my hands raw, but the frame rising anyway, creativity turning shortage into triumph. The loop escalated. A zoning inspector dropped by unannounced, clipboard in hand, eyeing our solar setup with a frown. "This off-grid? Need permits for that water tie-in." We argued codes over lukewarm coffee, my pulse hammering. "It's sustainable, not sketchy," him pushing back on every point. Marta, our sun-baked neighbor with her wild gray curls and endless herbal teas, swung by mid-spat, basket of fresh guavas in arm. "Hold up, folks. I know the county head. Built my place post-Andrew in '92. Let me make a call." Her folksy charm smoothed it, permits stamped by day's end. Over her guava jam that night, fire crackling, she spun tales. "Lost my roof in that blow, rebuilt with neighbors' scraps. You too? Got that same fire. Don't let red tape douse it." Her stories wrapped around us like a quilt, easing the isolation, making this patch feel like community. Then the big one slammed. A late summer squall brewed offshore, forecasts blaring warnings on our battery radio. Winds howled that night, tent stakes straining, rain pelting like buckshot. We huddled inside, flashlights dancing, Liam's arm tight around me. We'll ride it out. Dawn broke to devastation. The fresh foundation we'd poured just days before cracked like eggshell, water sluicing through fissures, tools scattered like confetti. I dropped to the mud, sobs choking out. This is it, washed away. What if I'm kidding myself, Liam? Dad called it. Too risky. Self-doubt roared louder than the surf. Visions of Sean's funded trucks mocking my scramble. Liam knelt, mud caking his jeans. Not done yet. Let's dig, see what's under. We shoveled furiously, blisters popping, and hit gold. An ancient well, capped but pristine, fresh water gurgling up like a gift. The storm's wreck unearthed a boon, perfect for a rainwater hybrid system in our hub. Reversal hit electric. I laughed through tears. Nature's plot twist. We patched the cracks around it, turning disaster into design gold. The loop kept spinning. A swarm of no-see-ums invaded mid-framing, bites itching like fire. We rigged netting from Marta's old screens, her cackle echoing, "Florida welcome wagon!" Then a supplier spat over recycled metal quality, rusty junk. Resolved with Quinn's haggling charm, bartering labor for upgrades. Each snag built tension, but our fixes fueled momentum, the walls rising steady. Community turned the tide, transforming sweat into solidarity. Sarah jetted down for a week, toolbox in tow. "Boston represent! Where's the beer and blueprints?" She hammered alongside, quips flying. "This beats stitching drunks, though Liam's easier on the eyes." Mr. Rozzi rolled in next, his ponytail wind-whipped, hauling donated fixtures. "From that senior spot to beachfront? You're legend, kid." Their energy crackled. Campfire nights with s'mores and stories, Sarah's ER horrors mixing with Rossi's center yarns, Marta's hurricane lore weaving in. "Family ain't always blood," Marta said one dusk, passing conch fritters. "It's who shows up." Their hands, blistered laughing, built more than walls. They patched my heart's cracks. By month 6, the frame loomed proud, sunlight piercing gaps like hope. Exhaustion peaked. I fumbled a saw, blade nicking wood wrong, tears spilling. "Can't do this." Liam pulled me up. "One nail at a time, Quinn. We're unbreakable." 10th month, magic. Shingled roof winking in sun, white siding crisp against blue sky, windows framing endless horizon. Inside, light danced, driftwood counters gleaming in the kitchen, shell mobiles tinkling softly, loft stairs inviting climbs. Liam's repurposed fire lantern hung in the office, casting cozy glows for future consults. We planted mangroves along the path, roots digging deep like our commitment. I captured it at sunset, posting, "Sunrise Sanctuary, from sand to sanctuary, for those needing care." It blew up, shares exploding, inboxes flooding with, "How can I build one?" A feature in a health mag dubbed it Beachfront Healing Hub. Pride surged, but one query stood out. A big org's invite for partnership. Scale your model nationwide. Catch, pivot to urban sites. Tempting but uprooting our roots.
If you've ever turned a setback into a win, share your tale below. Let's swap stories.
The May sun was relentless, beating down on the sandy drive as I knelt in the hibiscus bed, my hands caked in moist earth, the petals vibrant pink, a stark contrast to the muted greens of the mangroves. The ocean's murmur was a constant companion, waves lapping like a heartbeat against the shore. Sunrise Sanctuary stood solid behind me, its white walls absorbing the light, the repurposed fire lantern swaying lazily in the breeze from the open office window. Mornings now meant virtual consults with shut-ins, afternoons fine-tuning our home health hub protocols, and evenings with Liam, our feet propped on the porch rail, cold beers sweating in the humidity while we dreamed up expansions. A sudden screech of tires shattered the calm gravel flying as a familiar pickup skidded to a halt. I stood, wiping my forehead with the back of my arm, squinting against the glare. Sean burst out, disheveled, stubble thick, shirt untucked, eyes bulging as he took in the cottage, the solar array glinting on the roof. "Quinn? What the hell? This is yours?" "Mom and Dad swore you bombed out living hand-to-mouth in some swamp hole." My pulse quickened, a mix of shock and steel. "That's their fairy tale. What brings you crashing in, Sean?" He paced erratically, kicking up dust, his voice raw. "Everything's gone to shit. Debt's choking me. Truck seized by the bank. Drove south to think, spotted your sign. Dad, haul ass here now." He fumbled his phone, fingers trembling as he dialed. An hour later, their SUV barreled in, kicking up a cloud that settled like grit on my skin. Mom emerged first, face ashen, her usual neat bob, windswept, eyes a storm of confusion and hurt. Dad followed, shoulders squared but steps heavy, his neck veins pulsing like they did during his old coaching rants. Sean lingered between them, shuffling like a kid caught in the crossfire. Dad's gaze raked over the property, the porch inviting, the mangroves framing the sea, before locking on me. "How'd you pull this off? What's the angle, Quinn? Shady loans? Some hustle we don't know about?" I set my gardening gloves aside, voice steady as a pulse oximeter. Every slight, every "you're just grunt work," every time you bet on Sean. That fueled this, built it with my hands, not your handouts. Dad huffed, crossing his arms. "Come on, this spread. You couldn't afford a shack on your nurse pay. Spill the beans. Who's bankrolling you?" The argument looped, tension ratcheting like a tightening tourniquet. "Remember the science fair win I had at 10? You ditched for Sean's Pee-wee game, called my project Kid Stuff." Dad waved it off. "Ancient history. Sean's always had the drive. You're the reliable one, not the star." Mom jumped in, voice cracking. "We just wanted you safe, Quinn. Sean's the go-getter." I fired back. "Safe? You poured cash into his trucks while I slaved through nursing school on loans and diner grease. Double shifts flipping burgers till dawn while he coasted on your praise and parties." Dad reddened. "He needed the leg up. You're tough. Didn't think you'd break." Mom sobbed. "We love you equally," I pressed. "Equal? From day one, Sean's the miracle boy, me the shadow. Christmases gushing over his watch, grilling me on settling like him. You invested in his dreams, left mine to wither." The volley intensified, voices overlapping like crashing waves. Dad denied favoritism. No bias,
just smart choices. I countered with more scars. Graduation. You beamed at Sean's scholarship, barely nodded at my degree I earned solo. Mom tried mediating, tears streaming. We were scared, thought stability suited you. Dad's defiance cracked. All right, we messed up, picked wrong horses. The admission hung, heavy as humidity, leading to his gruff, "We're sorry, can you forgive?" But Sean, who'd been quiet, pulled a wrapped box from his truck. "Brought this, from all of us, peace offering." Hope flickered briefly as I unwrapped a fancy watch engraved, "To our winner." My stomach twisted. This for me? Or another pat on your back? Sean shifted. Thought it'd show we're proud. Of my turnaround, too. The fake olive branch snapped my last thread. Same old self-centered play, using peace to spotlight his ego. Keep it, I don't need props to shine. Internally, the battle raged as they stood silent, old resentments clawing for release, but a calm voice whispered, I didn't need their absolution to soar. Freedom bloomed, untethered from their strings. They drove off as dusk painted the sky orange, taillights fading like dying embers. Peace enveloped me, the ocean's rhythm syncing with my breath. A week passed, the letter arriving in a plain envelope, Dad's handwriting wobbly. Sold the house, echoes too loud. Realized our love was conditional, comparing you kids like investments. Ashamed we dimmed your light. Proud of you now, Quinn. Always were, just blind. The words stirred a whirlwind. Part of me yearned to bridge the gap, fingers itching to dial, to say, let's try. But the pull of my new life won. Replying would reopen scars, invite their shadows back. I folded it away, no response, and headed to the yard with a young palm sapling. Soil yielded under my spade, roots settling deep. For my roots, I whispered, tamping it firm. Liam appeared at golden hour, kneeling in the dirt, a driftwood ring in his palm, simple, polished by waves, warm as his gaze. Quinn, marry me, let's build it all, hubs, home, forever. Laughter mixed with tears as I slipped it on. Yes, our design side by side. One lazy afternoon, Sean's truck rumbled up again. He leaned out the window, softer edges now, no swagger. You look settled, sis. Happy for real? I nodded, leaning on the gate. Truly, you could chase that too, your way. He gave a half smile, eyes reflective, then pulled away slow. Dad's lingering plea, reconnect someday, echoed faint, my we'll see, leaving the door cracked just enough. Hit like, drop your thoughts below, share this with a friend, and subscribe for the next episode.